short message just to let you know that after 11 years with Salvage Hunters, I've decided it's time to move on. I've been lucky enough over the years to work with some amazing crew. We've visited some stunning locations and filmed with some lovely people.
John T., once a key figure on Salvage Hunters, stood alongside Drew Pritchard as a trusted partner, unearthing rare antiques and bringing them back to life. His calm, collected nature and unmatched expertise made him a fan favorite. But without warning, John T. disappeared from the show, leaving viewers puzzled and speculating. What led to his sudden departure after more than a decade on screen? Was it a personal decision, or was something more complicated at play? This is the untold story behind John T.'s exit. The sudden disappearance of John T. John T.'s sudden departure from Salvage Hunters took both fans and cast members by surprise, leaving many wondering what led to his unexpected exit. For more than a decade, John had been a beloved fixture on the show, known for his distinctive style and infectious energy. So when he vanished from the screen without any prior notice, the change was not only shocking, but also left viewers with more questions than answers. John T.'s departure from Salvage Hunters wasn't like the typical celebrity break. It wasn't a short hiatus or a temporary leave. It was permanent, signaling the end of an era for the show. His decision to leave had been building for a long time, driven by behind-the-scenes struggles and personal tensions. Over the years, he faced challenges both with the production and his interactions with the rest of the cast. These unresolved issues eventually reached a breaking point, prompting John to walk away for good, leaving fans to wonder what could have been if things had been different. John T.'s departure from Salvage Hunters wasn't just about stepping away from a TV show. It was the end of a long-standing partnership with his co-star, Drew Pritchard. For years, they worked side by side, creating a dynamic and successful duo that viewers grew to love. Together, they brought energy, expertise, and chemistry to the screen, making them a beloved pair. However, behind the scenes, tensions had quietly built up over time, and their once strong relationship had started to fray. Most fans never saw this shift coming, unaware of the strain that had been growing in the background. As John's departure unfolded, many fans were left wondering what truly happened. Was it a personal decision, a professional conflict, or a combination of both? While the answers remain somewhat unclear, one thing is certain: John T.'s exit left an indelible mark on the show, and it's hard not to wonder how things might have been different if he had stayed. One of the most beloved stars of Salvage Hunters, John T., stopped appearing on screen after more than a decade as a regular cast member. But what could have led to his disappearance beyond the speculated reasons? Could he have developed a strained relationship with his superior, or did he simply struggle to cope with the harsh realities that came with the show? Let's uncover the details. The crumbling partnership. Behind the scenes of Salvage Hunters, the strong partnership between John T. and Drew Pritchard, which had once been the heart of the show, began to unravel slowly. As new producers took charge, things started to change. John T., who had been a key player in the series for years, saw his role gradually shrink. His screen time, once consistent, was cut down, and this shift began to create a rift between him and the show's direction. As the show evolved, the tension between John and the production team became increasingly obvious. The close bond that once made him and Drew an unstoppable duo started to weaken. Their natural chemistry, which had captivated audiences for years, became less visible as they spent less time together on screen. The strong friendship they had built over countless hours of work together began to unravel. The shifting dynamics of the show, unexpected and unplanned, left a noticeable gap in their once inseparable partnership. As John T.'s presence faded, he found himself pushed out of crucial moments. Important trips and major decisions that had once been his to make were now kept from him. This wasn't just a shift in responsibilities, it signaled that the role he had built over the years was no longer considered essential. What was even more striking was how these changes mirrored the growing rift between him and Drew. Once close friends and co-stars, their bond seemed to weaken, and the shift in their dynamic wasn't just about work. It felt personal, and fans could sense the growing distance. This behind-the-scenes tension played a big part in John T's eventual decision to leave. It wasn't just a matter of cutting his screen time. It was about being gradually pushed out of the very show he had helped build. What once seemed like a solid partnership was now on the brink of collapse, and fans could only watch as the unspoken struggles came to a head. Beyond the show evolving and sidelining John T on key decisions, which led to his reduced presence before his final departure. What exactly was the show built upon? What role did John T play in bringing the show to life? And could leaving him out of the show have been a good decision for its growth? Let's find out. The Hidden World of Salvage Hunters. Salvage Hunters is a popular British TV series that follows the adventurous journey of Drew Pritchard, a seasoned decorative salvage dealer, as he travels across the UK in search of rare and valuable antiques. From quirky shops to bustling fairs and grand old mansions, Drew scours every corner of the country to find hidden gems. Each episode takes viewers along for the ride as Drew haggles with sellers, negotiates prices, and purchases fascinating items. These treasures are then carefully restored by his skilled team, with the show capturing the entire process, from the initial acquisition to the meticulous restoration and eventual sale. What truly makes Salvage Hunters so fascinating isn't just the excitement of unearthing hidden antiques, but the incredible transformations these items undergo. The show takes us behind the scenes of the restoration process, where forgotten treasures are carefully revived, giving them a new lease on life. It's amazing to watch how something worn out or neglected can be turned into a stunning, valuable piece once more. Drew and his team are at the heart of this process, using their skill and dedication to unlock each item's full potential. Watching this journey, from the moment they buy to the final sale, is not just entertaining, but deeply satisfying. Behind the scenes, John T played a pivotal role in making sure everything ran smoothly. As an essential member of the team, John was responsible for overseeing the logistics that kept the show on track. His expertise in managing operations and ensuring everything was in order was crucial to the production's success. So, when John suddenly left the show, his departure came as a shock to fans who had grown to appreciate his contributions to the series. His absence was felt deeply, as it marked the end of a key chapter in Salvage Hunters' history, leaving fans wondering what led to such an unexpected exit. Salvage Hunters is a popular British TV series where John T drives dealer Drew Pritchard to buy antiques. But could Drew's family issues have played a role in John's sudden disappearance from the show? How can personal matters affect a TV show and cause the departure of one of its most beloved stars? Let's uncover the details. The personal struggles and tensions behind the disappearance. As John T's partnership with Drew Pritchard started to fall apart, other issues began pushing him away from Salvage Hunters. A major factor was his growing closeness with Rebecca Pritchard, Drew's ex-wife. This personal bond sparked tension among the cast and crew, creating an uncomfortable divide behind the scenes. What was once a tight, united team began to fracture. As John's relationship with Rebecca became more public, he found himself isolated, drawing unwanted attention and making the atmosphere increasingly strained. The harmony that had once defined the show was now overshadowed by a growing, undeniable rift. As the show's direction shifted, tensions began to rise, creating a noticeable shift both on screen and behind the scenes. With these changes, internal struggles started to surface, affecting the energy during filming and the overall mood of the crew. For John, it became increasingly clear that the familiar environment was no longer a good fit. Though the viewers remained unaware of the full picture, those who worked closely with the show could feel the growing pressure. The atmosphere had changed, and it was evident that John's time on Salvage Hunters was coming to an end. Though John's exit was sudden and caught fans by surprise, the tension within the crew and his personal ties to Rebecca were critical factors that led to his departure. The nature of the show and the team dynamics had shifted in ways that no longer made it possible for John T. to stay in the role he had once held. Even though the exact reasons behind his decision to leave were never publicly disclosed, it was clear that his growing isolation, both professionally and personally, played a big part in his choice to step away from the series. The behind-the-scenes drama that unfolded added a layer of intrigue to his exit, leaving many fans to wonder what really went on off-camera. Internal crew members believed that John T.'s closeness to Drew's ex-partner cost him his role on the popular TV series. But how was he treated before his disappearance? Was he appreciated for his years of contribution, or did he face subtle ridicule before his departure? Now, let's explore how changing dynamics led to John T.'s quiet exit. The fading spotlight. When new producers took charge of Salvage Hunters, the show underwent major changes, many of which John T. struggled to adapt to. Once a key part of the show, John's role slowly diminished as the focus shifted in new directions. His regular screen time, once a staple in every episode, became less frequent. By the final season, John, who had been a strong on-screen presence, often appeared in the background alongside other crew members. He was no longer the close partner of Drew, a dynamic that fans had always loved. The shift in the show's direction marked the end of an era that fans had cherished. John's role on Salvage Hunters slowly shifted, and it wasn't just the way he was portrayed on screen. It was a reflection of his growing sense of being overlooked. Once a central figure whose contributions were key to the show's success, he began to feel more like a background player. As the show evolved, John's presence became less noticeable, and the meaningful role he once played seemed to fade. The connection he had with Drew, which had been the backbone of their chemistry, also weakened. What had once been a seamless partnership no longer felt the same, leaving John questioning his place and the impact he had within the team. John's feeling of being overlooked and undervalued became a turning point in his decision to leave Salvage Hunters. What was once a job he loved, where he played a key role, no longer felt like the same opportunity. Over time, he saw his importance fade as the focus shifted away from him. Instead of being the central figure he once was, John found himself sidelined, gradually becoming less involved. As the producers and crew moved in a new direction that didn't include him as much, John knew it was time to walk away and reclaim his peace. His departure wasn't only about reduced screen time. It was also about feeling pushed aside and losing the influence he once had. But what happened to John after leaving Salvage Hunters? Did he struggle to rebuild his life, or was he able to find a new sense of purpose beyond the show? Now, let's dive into John T.'s peaceful new chapter. From TV star to antique enthusiast. After leaving Salvage Hunters, John T. chose to retreat from the limelight, embracing a much quieter, more private life. Gone was the world of cameras, travel, and public scrutiny. Instead, John seemed to find peace in a simpler existence, one that centered around his true passions, working with antiques and restoring old items. Away from the TV set, he returned to the kind of work that had always felt right for him, dealing with vintage materials and using his hands to breathe new life into forgotten treasures. This shift wasn't just about escaping fame, it was about reconnecting with the craft he had always loved. John's work behind the scenes on Salvage Hunters had always been more about skill and craftsmanship than being in the spotlight. He wasn't interested in the fame that came with being on television. His joy came from the satisfaction of the work itself, the challenge of restoring and preserving pieces of history, the careful handling of materials, and the quiet pride in a job well done. The attention of cameras may have never suited him, but the reward of seeing an antique come back to life was something he could always appreciate. To many viewers, John T.'s departure from the show didn't come as a shock. It felt more like a return to form. Throughout his time on Salvage Hunters, he was always more comfortable with tools and transport than with being the center of attention. The show's spotlight had never seemed to change him. He was always the steady hand behind the scenes, the one who kept things running smoothly without needing recognition. So, when he stepped away from the show, it wasn't a dramatic shift. It was simply a return to the life he had always known and loved. For John T., it wasn't about fame. It was about doing what he was truly passionate about, away from the noise. John T. built his happiness and new way of life around something similar to his time on Salvage Hunters, but this time away from the cameras. Could this new lifestyle help him focus on his health? Was there a noticeable transformation after leaving the show? Now, let's uncover how John T.'s departure from Salvage Hunters sparked a life-altering health transformation. Fitness and a new lifestyle. John T.'s exit from Salvage Hunters wasn't just the end of his TV career, it signaled the beginning of a personal transformation. The high-energy, non-stop filming schedule had taken a serious toll on his health over the years. Endless hours, constant travel, and the constant pressure to keep up with the demanding pace of the show left him with barely any time for himself. As a result, John had neglected his own well-being, pushing aside self-care in favor of work. Stepping away from the cameras allowed him to slow down, reset, and focus on what truly mattered, his health and peace of mind. But when he walked away from the spotlight, John saw an opportunity to make some much-needed changes. He decided to take control of his health and embark on a journey towards fitness and well-being. Determined to improve both physically and mentally, John began making small but impactful adjustments to his lifestyle. One of the first steps was committing to regular walks, a simple but effective way to stay active and clear his mind. Alongside his newfound love for walking, he adopted a balanced diet, focusing on nourishing his body with healthier foods. The results were truly remarkable. John lost over 30 kilograms, which completely changed how he looked and also boosted his health in ways he hadn't expected. But it wasn't just the weight loss that mattered. It was the lifestyle changes he embraced. For the first time in years, John found a sense of calm and happiness that had eluded him. Free from the stress of his past career, he felt lighter in both body and spirit, with a newfound peace that made all the difference. This journey wasn't just about losing weight. It was about rediscovering himself and finding balance in a way he hadn't been able to while filming. The peace that came with taking better care of his body translated into a renewed sense of well-being, allowing John T. to enjoy life in a way he hadn't in a long time. His personal transformation became a symbol of growth, showing that sometimes stepping away from life's pressures is the first step toward real change. But will his influence on the show be remembered even after his departure? What legacy did he leave behind? Now, let's explore John T.'s lasting influence. The quiet pillar of Salvage Hunters. John T.'s departure from Salvage Hunters might have seemed like a quiet exit to many, but the impact he had on the show was anything but subtle. While he may not have always been the star of the screen, John played an indispensable role behind the scenes, ensuring everything ran seamlessly. His expertise wasn't just in antiques, he was also key to the logistical side of the show. Whether it was organizing trips, coordinating with sellers, or ensuring the smooth flow of each episode, John was a critical figure in making the production process work efficiently. But his contributions went beyond just logistics. John's ability to offer accurate and valuable appraisals helped the show's authenticity, allowing fans to trust the items being showcased. His extensive knowledge of antiques, machinery, and historical pieces brought depth to the show that made it stand out from other similar programs. As Drew Pritchard's trusted partner, the two shared a unique chemistry, creating an on-screen dynamic that fans loved. Their interactions were more than just professional. They had a genuine bond that translated into their work, which made the show feel real and relatable. Even after John's exit, his absence left a noticeable void. The show's structure and pacing began to change, with a shift in dynamics that many fans couldn't ignore. Without his steady presence behind the scenes, things felt different, less organized, and a bit more chaotic. While the show continued to thrive in its own way, the seamless flow that John had contributed to was no longer the same. The chemistry between Drew and John, once a driving force, was hard to replicate, leaving the show with a quieter, less cohesive feel. Even if John T. was not the main face of Salvage Hunters, his impact on the show was impossible to ignore. He brought far more than support. He helped with transport, valuations, and the steady rhythm that kept many deals moving. On screen, his chemistry with Drew gave the series warmth, balance, and a natural spark that viewers loved. When he left, it did not feel like a small cast change. It felt like the close of a memorable chapter many fans still miss today. So, what do you think about John T's departure from Salvage Hunters? Was it a wise decision on his part? We would love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. Don't forget to like and subscribe.